What's up, homies? Welcome to the very first episode of the Homeys Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Luevanos, and today we're going to be diving into the Los Angeles real estate market. They recently released what the trends were for November of 2020. We're going to correlate that to November of 2019 and give you some projections moving forward. So, before I do that, I want to quickly recap what this podcast is going to be about moving forward. Since this is our very first podcast, I'm excited. Been working on this for quite some time now. So this podcast is going to be a collection of stories, experiences, advice, tips, trends and analytics, and more related to the real estate market. And in the future, we plan to bring on guests and experts to enlighten us, or maybe just tell us some of their craziest real estate stories and entertain us. So this podcast is going to align with our core values at the Luevanos Group, which, if you don't know by now, it's to educate, entertain, and to give back. And hopefully, we can shed some light on the real estate market and make purchasing a home or selling a home just a little bit more comfortable or more homey. So, why did we choose to title our podcast the Homeys Real Estate Podcast? Well, there's a lot of homies that are all about making their home warm, welcoming, and comfortable. And there are a lot of homies that are finally looking to purchase their first home or sell their home, but don't know how. So I'm going to be referring to our audience as homies moving forward. So before I dive into the real estate market, what do you guys think about this setup? I bought my first 4 succulents ever. I'm 27. I don't know why. I'm finally getting into the plant game or succulent game. But this one right here, this cactus, is my favorite because it has these thorns that aren't poking outwards, they're poking inwards. So like I can touch it whenever I want and feel safe. Whereas most of the other succulents that I have or that I've seen, they're kind of dangerous. But give me your feedback. Want to see what we can do to make our setup just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But anyways, let's dive into Los Angeles real estate market. So the median sales price for homes and this is all property types, single family, condominium, townhomes, manufactured, and mobile homes, is $725,000 as of November 2020. Now, it dropped $15,000 since October of 2020. So it was originally around $740,000. Yet, it's still up 13.3% compared to November 2019. So November 2019, we're looking at a median sales price of $640,000. And now we're looking at $725,000. That's about $85,000 increase. That's gnarly. That's the biggest increase in a year that I've seen in a very, very long time. Now I want to go to active listings. So if we look at active listings, right now we're at about 14,000 active listings in Los Angeles County. Active listings means homes that are actively being sold right now and are available on the market. And right now we're at about 10.4% less than what we had in November of 2019. Now that's significantly less. However, earlier this year, around June and July, we were over 20% less. So we're slowly starting to stabilize our inventory, which is a good news for buyers, because when there's less inventory and there's more buyers, more people are bidding on the same home, and it drives up the price of homes. It's just a law of supply and demand. So what does the total closed volume in Los Angeles County look like? Well, in October of 2020, we're looking at about $13,400,000,000 in closed volume. And in November of 2020, we're looking at about $10,800,000,000 in closed volume. So it did drop about I want to say that's $2.5 billion. And that's expected. That's what we typically see because real estate is seasonal, right? So more people are looking for homes in the spring and in the summer, and then typically fall and winter it tends to slow down. People are getting prepared for the holidays, want to stay in, aren't necessarily motivated to look at homes when it's a little bit colder weather. It's just a very seasonal thing that happens in real estate. However, although it did drop $2.5 billion, it's still up 21.9% since November 2019. So November 2019, we're looking at about $8.9 billion of closed volume, and now we're at $10.8 billion of closed volume. So that's significantly more than what we typically see. And the closed volume trend in Los Angeles County, or in the majority of the nation, was really all this year, obviously due to the pandemic, right? There was a lot of homes that were taken off the market or put on hold in April and May just because people weren't sure if they were allowed to sell their home. People weren't sure, what the proper protocol was to look at homes. But because of that, there was a lot of pent up supply that was put on the market later in the year. So that's why month over month, there was an increase of total closed transaction volume just because there was more supply later in the year. But it's finally the first month since May where closed transaction volume actually decreased in Los Angeles County. So one interesting thing to look at for this Los Angeles County trend is months supply. So inventory month supply. What inventory month supply means is if there were no more homes listed in Los Angeles County, how long will it take for the rest of the homes that are on the market to sell? And as of November 2020, that's 2.9 months. In a balanced market where it's not a seller's market like it is right now, or a buyer's market, it's typically around 6 months. So right now we're at half of that. So we're pretty much in an extreme seller's market. A lot of sellers have leverage right now. However, this inventory month supply, it did increase from last month from 2.8 to 2.9. So as long as we keep trending back to a higher number, then it's going to give a little bit more for buyers, or I guess there's going to be more homes for buyers to choose from and less competition and less people bidding on the same home. So that's a great news for buyers. Now, another interesting statistic to look at is median days on market. So right now in Los Angeles County, it takes about 11 days for a home to hit the market and then go into escrow, which is super fast. That's ridiculously fast. In 2015, to give you an example, we were looking at an average of, from 40 to 60 days. So homes are selling extremely fast, and that's just because of the historically low interest rates. So as of November 25th, I want to say the average interest rate reported by Freddie Mac was a 2.72% nationwide. That's taking into account an average of 0.7 points in fees paid. But still, that's extremely low. That's over 1% less than what it was last year. A lot of buyers are going to the market. They're trying to snatch up a home with these incredibly low interest rates. And also, because interest rates are lower, people get qualified for more. So because they get qualified for more, they can now bid more for homes. So that's why the sales price for homes is a lot higher than we would typically see, right? So 13.3%, that's pretty much year over year appreciation. You don't get that. That's because something significant happened in this case. It's because interest rates are extremely low right now. So with that being said, what are my projections moving forward for the Los Angeles County market? Well, my projections align with a lot of other experts. So Zillow is projecting through 2021 that the average appreciation rate is going to be about 6 to 7%. Now that's high. Statistically, we've been looking over the last 100 years at about 3.5%. but that's about double. So I think that homes are going to appreciate well into 2021. Freddie Mac has also said, and other experts, including um, it was Tenadi Kafdis. I'm butchering his name. He's a chief economics at Lending Tree, and he said that the 30-year mortgage rate could fall as low as 2.3% in the next 6 to 9 months. So if interest rates continue to go lower, yes, it's going to be appetizing for buyers. They're going to want to hit the market, but also they're going to get qualified for more. So it's going to drive up the price of homes. So I think that homes are going to continue to go up moving forward. However, for December, just because of the seasonality of real estate, I think that there's going to be less closed volume than we did have in November. I think that the median sales price of homes is probably going to go down a little bit just because there's going to be less buyers on the market, less competition. So December, January, now, it might be a good time for you buyers to try to snatch up a home with less competition. So, this is what I believe is going to happen with the Los Angeles County real estate market moving forward. I would love to hear your feedback. I'm going to try to get these charts that I'm looking at available for you to watch this podcast in the video version that we're going to upload to our YouTube channel. And again, this is Anthony with the Luevanos Group. I'm also the host of the Homeys Real Estate Podcast. I'm excited to finally get this first podcast out to you. Want to thank you for listening and stay tuned for our next one. Take care. Hey homies, it's Anthony. This podcast contains my opinions and is for educational purposes only. It does not guarantee any projections and should not serve as a basis for any purchase or sale in real estate.